What would you do if the only thing standing between your family and starvation was a tray of groundnuts balanced on your head under the scorching African sun? Would you keep walking even when your legs felt like they would break? Would you keep shouting even when your voice cracked from exhaustion? This was the reality Joy faced every single day. Before we continue this epic story, I'm curious, which part of the world are you watching from? Put it in the comment. Also, please just take a moment to hit the subscribe button if you are yet to. Like and share this video just so more people can hear and learn from this story. Now let's continue. Joy was 22 years old, but life had aged her beyond her years. Her faded yellow dress clung to her thin body, soaked with sweat that never seemed to dry. The wooden tray on her head felt heavier with each passing hour, filled with small bags of roasted groundnuts she had packed since 4 in the morning. "Groundnut! Fresh groundnut!" she called out, her voice hoarse and barely audible over the noise of Lagos traffic. Cars honked aggressively. Motorcycles sped past dangerously close. People pushed and shoved without looking at her face. To them, she was invisible. Just another poor street hawker trying to survive in a city that had no mercy for the weak. Joy lived in a single room in Ajigunle with her younger brother, Emeka, who was 15, and her sick grandmother, Mama Nkiru. Their father had died 5 years ago in a motorcycle accident. Their mother had abandoned them shortly after, running away with another man who promised her a better life. Since then, Joy had become the mother, the father, the provider. She was everything. Every morning, she woke up at 3:30 a.m., boiled the groundnuts, roasted them carefully, packaged them into small bags, and hit the streets by 6 a.m. She would walk from Ajigunle to Oshodi, then to Ikeja, sometimes covering over 20 kilometers in a single day. Her feet were covered in blisters. Her shoulders ached constantly. Her back bent from the weight of the tray. But she never complained. She couldn't afford to. Emeka was in secondary school, and Joy was determined to keep him there. She remembered how their father used to say, "Education is the only way out of poverty." So no matter how hungry she was, no matter how tired, she made sure Emeka's school fees were paid, even if it meant she went to bed with an empty stomach. Mama Nkiru, her grandmother, had been sick for almost 2 years. Diabetes and high blood pressure were slowly killing her. Joy had taken her to the government hospital several times, but the doctors always said the same thing. She needs constant medication. She needs good food. She needs rest. But how could Joy afford medication when she barely made 2,000 naira a day? How could she provide good food when they ate once a day, sometimes just gari and salt? How could Mama Nkiru rest when their single room was hot, cramped, and filled with mosquitoes every night? Still, Joy didn't give up. She prayed every morning before leaving the house. She knelt beside Mama Nkiru's mat and whispered, "God, I don't know how, but please make a way. Don't let my family suffer like this forever." That particular Thursday started like every other day. Joy woke up, prepared her groundnuts, kissed her grandmother's forehead, reminded Emeka to go to school, and left the house before the sun fully rose. The streets were already crowded. Danfo buses roared past. Hawkers shouted. Beggars stretched out their hands. Joy moved through the chaos like a ghost, invisible to everyone. By noon, she had sold only half of her groundnuts. Her stomach growled painfully. She hadn't eaten since the night before, and even that was just a small portion of boiled yam. "God, please help me sell everything today," she prayed silently as she walked under the burning sun. Then, just as she crossed the road near Oshodi, she heard a loud crash. Joy turned quickly and saw a crowd gathering near the roadside. People were shouting, pointing, but no one was helping. She moved closer, her heart pounding. On the ground, lying half-conscious in the dirty gutter, was a man. He looked to be in his 60s, dressed in an expensive-looking white kaftan now stained with mud and blood. His face was pale, his breathing shallow, and his eyes barely open. "What happened?" Joy asked a woman standing nearby. He just collapsed, the woman said, shaking her head. Maybe he's a madman, or maybe it's a ritual attack. Who knows? Just leave him. Don't touch him. But Joy couldn't walk away. Something inside her wouldn't let her. She knelt beside the man, ignoring the dirty water soaking into her dress. "Sir, can you hear me?" she asked gently. The man's lips moved slightly, but no sound came out. His hand trembled as he tried to reach for something in his pocket. "Please, somebody help," Joy shouted to the crowd. "This man is dying." But people only stared. Some took pictures with their phones. Others whispered among themselves. "If you touch him, you'll carry his problem," one man warned. "Maybe he's a ritualist." "Don't be foolish," another added. Joy looked around desperately. No one was willing to help. The man's breathing was getting weaker. His eyes were closing. She made a decision. "I will not let you die here," she whispered to him. She carefully lifted his head and placed it on her lap. She used the edge of her dress to wipe the blood from his face. Then she reached into her small bag and brought out a bottle of water she had been saving for herself. Gently, she poured a little into his mouth. He coughed weakly but swallowed. "Please, sir, stay with me," Joy said, tears filling her eyes. "Help is coming. Please don't die." She turned to the crowd again. "Please, someone call an ambulance, or help me take him to the hospital." A young man finally stepped forward. "I have a car. I can take you both to the hospital, but I'm not touching him. You have to carry him." Joy nodded quickly. "Thank you. Thank you so much." With the help of one other person, they managed to lift the man into the back seat of the car. Joy climbed in beside him, holding his head steady as the car sped toward the nearest hospital. Her groundnut tray was left behind on the roadside. All her day's work, abandoned. But Joy didn't care. A life was more important than money. When they arrived at the hospital, the nurses rushed out with a stretcher. They took the man inside immediately. Joy stood in the waiting area, her dress dirty, her body trembling, her heart heavy with fear. A nurse came to her. "Are you his daughter?" "No, Ma," Joy replied. "I found him on the street. He was dying. I had to bring him here." The nurse looked at her with pity. "The doctor needs to run some tests. It will cost money. Do you have any?" Joy's heart sank. She reached into her pocket and brought out 800 naira, all the money she had made that morning. "This is all I have," she said, her voice breaking. The nurse sighed. "This is not enough. But let me talk to the doctor. Maybe we can start with this." Joy sat down on a wooden bench, exhausted and afraid. She didn't know the man. She didn't know his name or where he came from. But something deep inside her told her that saving him was the right thing to do. Hours passed. The sun began to set. Joy's phone rang. It was Emeka. "Sister Joy, where are you? Mom Nkiru is asking for you. Are you okay?" Joy wiped her tears. "I'm fine, Emeka. I'll be home soon. Please give Mama her medicine and make sure she eats something." "But sister, we don't have food." Joy closed her eyes. "Check the cupboard. There's a little Gary left. Please manage it. I'll bring something when I come." But she had no money. She had nothing. She ended the call and sat in silence, staring at the hospital floor. After what felt like forever, a doctor came out. "The man is stable now. He had a severe stroke. If you hadn't brought him in when you did, he would have died." Joy exhaled with relief. "Thank God. Can I see him?" "He's unconscious, but you can sit with him for a while." Joy followed the doctor into the ward. The man was lying on a bed, connected to machines, his face peaceful but weak. She sat beside him and whispered, "I don't know who you are, sir, but I'm glad you're alive. God brought me to you for a reason." She stayed with him for another hour, then quietly left the hospital and walked home in the dark. When she reached her room, Mama Nkiru was sleeping. Emeka was sitting on the floor, hungry and worried. "Sister, what happened to you?" he asked. Joy sat down slowly and told him everything. Emeka's eyes widened. "Sister, you left all your groundnuts? You gave all your money? What will we eat tomorrow?" Joy smiled weakly. "God will provide, Emeka. He always does." But that night, as she lay on her thin mat, staring at the ceiling, Joy cried silently. She didn't know how they would survive the next day. She didn't know that the man she saved was about to change her life forever. 3 days passed, and Joy returned to the streets. She had borrowed money from a neighbor to buy more groundnuts. Her body was weak from hunger, but she kept moving. She hadn't gone back to the hospital. She didn't have money for transport, and she was too ashamed to show up empty-handed. But someone else was looking for her. At the hospital, the man had finally regained consciousness. His name was Chief Adeyemi Okonkwo, one of the wealthiest men in Africa. He owned oil companies, real estate empires, and businesses across 15 countries. His net worth was estimated at over $20 billion. But that day on the street, when he collapsed, no one recognized him. He had been traveling incognito, without security, trying to escape the pressure of his world for just one afternoon. The stroke hit him suddenly. He fell, and the world around him became a blur. He remembered faces staring at him. He remembered voices telling people not to touch him. Then he remembered a voice. Soft, gentle, desperate. "Please don't die." He remembered small hands wiping his face. He remembered water touching his lips. He remembered being lifted, carried, saved. When he woke up in the hospital bed 3 days later, the first thing he asked was, "Where is the woman who brought me here?" The nurse looked confused. "She left, sir. She didn't give us her name or number." "Find her," Chief Okonkwo said firmly. "Find her immediately." His assistant, Mr. Tund, who had finally located him at the hospital, was shocked. "Sir, you need to rest. The doctor said." "I don't care what the doctor said," the chief interrupted. "That woman saved my life. She used her last money to bring me here. She stayed with me when no one else would. I must find her. I must thank her." Mr. Tund nodded. "I will do everything possible, sir." But finding Joy was not easy. She had no phone number registered at the hospital. No address. No name. All they knew was that she was a groundnut seller, probably from a poor area. Chief Okonkwo's team began searching. They went to Oshodi, asking hawkers if they knew a young woman who sold groundnuts. Some said yes, but when they followed up, it wasn't her. Days turned into a week. The chief became frustrated. "How can someone disappear like this?" he asked. "She saved my life, and I can't even find her to say thank you?" Mr. Tund suggested they go to local radio stations and TV stations to make an announcement. "Good idea," the chief agreed. "Let's do it immediately." That same week, a message began playing on Lagos radio stations. "A young woman who sells groundnuts and helped a man who collapsed near Oshodi 3 weeks ago is urgently needed. If you are this woman, or you know her, please contact this number. There is no trouble, only gratitude." Joy heard the announcement one evening while walking past a shop. She stopped in her tracks. "Wait," she whispered to herself. Is that about me?" Emeka, who was with her, looked up. "Sister, that man on the radio, isn't that the man you saved?" Joy's heart began to race. "I think so. But why is he looking for me?" "Maybe he wants to thank you," Emeka said excitedly. "Sister, you have to call that number." But Joy hesitated. "What if it's a trap? What if they want to blame me for something?" "Sister, don't be afraid," Emeka urged. "You did a good thing. Nothing bad will come from it." Joy thought about it all night. Finally, the next morning, she gathered courage and called the number. A man answered immediately. "Hello. Is this the woman who helped someone at Oshodi?" Joy's voice shook. "Yes, sir. I think so. Thank God." the man said. "Please, where are you? We need to meet you." Joy gave him the address of a nearby junction. She didn't want them to see where she lived. She was too ashamed of her poverty. An hour later, a black SUV pulled up. A well-dressed man stepped out. It was Mr. Tund. "Are you Joy?" he asked gently. "Yes, sir. Thank you for calling. Please come with me. Someone very important wants to meet you." Joy's heart pounded as she climbed into the car. Emeka held her hand tightly. They drove to a private hospital in Victoria Island, the kind of place Joy had only seen on TV. When they entered the chief's private suite, Joy froze. The man she had saved was sitting on a luxurious sofa, looking healthy and strong. He stood up the moment he saw her. "You," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You are the one." Joy didn't know what to say. She just stood there, trembling. Chief Okonkwo walked toward her slowly, tears in his eyes. "My daughter," he said. "You saved my life when no one else would. You gave me your last money. You stayed with me. You didn't even know who I was. But you treated me like I mattered." Joy's eyes filled with tears. I just couldn't leave you there, sir." The chief smiled. "And because of that, your life will never be the same again." Joy stood in the chief's hospital suite, unable to process what was happening. The room was bigger than her entire house. The sofa she was asked to sit on felt softer than any bed she had ever touched. Everything around her screamed wealth, power, and a life she had only dreamed about. Chief Okonkwo sat across from her, studying her face with deep gratitude. "Tell me about yourself," he said gently. "What is your name? Where do you live? What is your story?" Joy hesitated. She felt ashamed. How could she tell this powerful man that she lived in a single room in Ajigunal? That she hawked groundnuts to survive? That her family barely ate once a day? But something in his eyes made her feel safe. So she began to speak. She told him everything. About her father's death. About her mother's abandonment. About Emeka's schooling. About Mama Nkiru's sickness. About her daily struggle on the streets. As she spoke, tears rolled down her cheeks. She tried to wipe them away, embarrassed, but they kept falling. Chief Okonkwo listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was silent for a long moment. Then he stood up and walked to the window, his hands clasped behind his back. "Joy," he finally said, turning to face her. "I am one of the richest men in Africa. I own businesses, properties, companies. I have everything money can buy." He paused. "But that day when I collapsed on the street, none of my wealth could save me. My security team wasn't there. My doctors weren't there. My money couldn't help me." His voice grew emotional. "You were there, poor girl with nothing, and you gave me everything you had. You risked your life. You used your last money. You stayed with a stranger." He walked closer to her. "Do you know what that means? It means you have something more valuable than all my wealth. You have a heart of gold." Joy looked down, overwhelmed. "I want to change your life," the chief said. "Not because I pity you, but because you deserve it. You deserve everything good." He turned to Mr. Tund, who was standing nearby. "Tund, write this down. From today, Joy's family will never suffer again." He began listing, his voice firm and commanding. 1. Move Joy, her brother, and her grandmother to a fully furnished 3-bedroom apartment in a good area. Pay the rent for 10 years in advance. Joy gasped. 2. Enroll Emeka in one of the best private schools in Lagos. Cover all his fees, books, uniforms, everything up to university level. Emeka, who had been sitting quietly beside his sister, couldn't hold back his tears. 3. Take Mama Nkiru to the best hospital in Lagos. Give her the best doctors, the best treatment, the best care. I will personally cover all medical bills. Joy covered her mouth, sobbing. 4. Give Joy 10 million naira immediately for upkeep and emergencies. The room fell silent except for the sound of Joy crying. 5. The chief continued, his voice softer now. Joy, you will no longer sell groundnuts on the street. I am giving you a business. A fully stocked shop in a good location. You will sell provisions, food items, anything you want. I will provide the capital. You will manage it. Joy couldn't breathe. She looked at the chief, then at Emeka, then back at the chief. Sir, she whispered. Why? Why are you doing all this? Chief Okonkwo smiled, tears in his own eyes now. Because you did something for me that no one else would do. You saw me as a human being, not as a rich man or a poor man. Just as a human being who needed help. He knelt in front of her, this powerful billionaire, kneeling before a poor street hawker. Thank you, Joy. You saved my life. Now let me give you a new one. Joy fell to her knees and hugged him, sobbing uncontrollably. Thank you, sir. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Everything happened so fast. It felt like a dream Joy was afraid to wake up from. Within 1 week, Chief Okonkwo's team moved Joy's entire family to a beautiful 3-bedroom apartment in Ikeja. The house had tiled floors, a modern kitchen, soft beds, a television, and even air conditioning. When Mama Nkiru saw it, she sat down slowly and cried. My God, she whispered. You remembered us. You finally remembered us. Emeka ran from room to room, laughing and shouting. Sister Joy, we have a real bathroom. We have our own rooms. We have everything. Joy stood in the living room, her hands trembling. She couldn't believe this was their home now. No more leaking roof. No more mosquitoes. No more shame. That same week, Mama Nkiru was taken to a private hospital. The doctors ran tests, gave her the best medication, and within 2 weeks, her health began to improve dramatically. Color returned to her face. She could walk without pain. She smiled again. This is a miracle, the doctor told Joy. If you had waited any longer, we might have lost her. Joy thanked God every morning and every night. Emeka was enrolled in a top private school. On his first day, he wore a brand new uniform, shiny black shoes, and carried a school bag filled with new books. He looked like a completely different boy. Sister, he said before leaving, I will make you proud. I will study hard. I will never forget what you did for us. Joy hugged him tightly. I know you will, my brother. I believe in you. Then came the day Chief Okonkwo took Joy to see her new shop. It was located in a busy market area in Ikeja, big, clean, and fully stocked with bags of rice, cartons of noodles, drinks, toiletries, everything. Above the door was a sign, Joy's Provision Store. Joy stood outside, staring at it, tears streaming down her face. This is mine? She asked in disbelief. Yes, the chief said, smiling. This is yours. You are now a businesswoman. Joy fell to her knees right there in front of the shop and began to thank God loudly. People passing by stopped to watch. Some thought she was mad. Others smiled, understanding that they were witnessing a miracle. Chief Okonkwo helped her to her feet. Joy, you don't have to kneel anymore. You've suffered enough. Now it's time to stand tall. 15 years had passed since that life-changing day. Joy was now 37 years old, but she looked like a completely different woman. She was confident, elegant, well-spoken, and successful. Her small provision shop had grown into a chain of 5 stores across Lagos. She employed over 20 people, all of them young men and women from poor backgrounds, just like she used to be. Emeka had graduated from university with first-class honors in engineering. He now worked at one of Chief Okonkwo's companies and was already making a name for himself as a brilliant young mind. Mama Nkiru was healthy, strong, and active. She spent her days at the local church, praying for others and sharing the testimony of how God lifted them from nothing to something. Joy had also gotten married. Her husband, David, was a kind, humble man who worked as a teacher. He loved her not for her success, but for her heart. They had 2 beautiful children, a boy and a girl. Life was good. Life was peaceful. Life was blessed. But Joy never forgot where she came from. Every year, on the anniversary of the day she saved Chief Okonkwo, she would go back to the streets of Oshodi and give out free food, clothes, and money to street hawkers. She would stand among them and say, "I was once like you. I know your pain. I know your hunger. I know your fear. But I also know that one act of kindness can change your life forever. Don't give up. Keep believing. Your day is coming." Many young people's lives were changed through her foundation, the Joy Lifeline Foundation, which provided scholarships, medical care, and business grants to struggling families. Chief Okonkwo, now in his late 70s, often attended her events. He would sit quietly at the back and watch with pride. One day, during one of her outreach programs, a journalist asked Joy, "What is the secret to your success?" Joy smiled and said, "There is no secret. I just refused to walk past someone who needed help. I didn't think about what I would gain. I didn't think about my own problems. I just thought, this man is dying. I have to do something." She paused, her voice growing emotional. And God saw that heart. He saw that choice, and he rewarded it beyond anything I could ever imagine. The crowd erupted in applause. Later that evening, Joy sat with Chief Okonkwo in his home. They had grown very close over the years. He treated her like a daughter. She treated him like a father. "Chief," Joy said softly, "I still can't believe all of this is real. Sometimes I wake up and think I'm still that poor girl selling groundnuts." The chief smiled. "You were never just a poor girl, Joy. You were always a queen. You just didn't have a crown yet." He took her hand. "You taught me something that day. You taught me that wealth is not measured by money. It's measured by the size of your heart. And your heart, my daughter, is the richest thing I've ever seen." Joy's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Chief, for everything, for seeing me, for believing in me, for changing my life." "No," the chief said, shaking his head. "Thank you for saving mine." 25 years after that fateful day, Joy stood on a stage in front of thousands of people. She had been invited to speak at a national conference on the power of compassion. She was now 52 years old, gray hair beginning to show, but her spirit was as strong as ever. Behind her on the screen was a photo of her younger self, dirty dress, tired eyes, carrying a tray of groundnuts on her head. The crowd gasped when they saw it. "That was me," Joy said, her voice steady. "That girl had nothing, but she had one thing that changed everything. She had compassion." She told her story, every word, every detail, every emotion. When she finished, the entire auditorium stood and applauded for 5 minutes straight. Sitting in the front row was Emeka, now a successful CEO of his own tech company. Beside him was Mama Nkiru, now in her late 80s, smiling proudly. And beside them, in a wheelchair but still strong in spirit, was Chief Adeyemi Okonkwo, the richest man in Africa, who had lived to see the full circle of the life he helped transform. As Joy stepped down from the stage, a young woman approached her. She was crying. "Ma," the woman said, "I'm a street hawker. I listened to your story. I almost gave up on life. But hearing you today, it gave me hope." Joy hugged her tightly. "Don't give up," she whispered. "Your day is coming. Just keep being kind. Keep being faithful. Keep believing. God sees you." The woman nodded, wiping her tears, and walked away with renewed strength. That night, Joy sat in her beautiful home, surrounded by her family. Her husband held her hand. Her children laughed and played. Mama Nkiru hummed a worship song. Emeka told jokes. And Joy closed her eyes and whispered a prayer. "Thank you, God, for that day, for that moment, for that stranger, for that choice. Thank you for turning my pain into purpose, my tears into testimony, my poverty into power." And somewhere in the heavens the angels smiled, because they had witnessed it all. They had seen a poor girl with a golden heart save a dying man. They had seen compassion triumph over poverty. They had seen destiny change in a single moment of kindness. And they knew, without a doubt, that this was the kind of story heaven loves to write. Thank you for watching. Please, take a moment to help our channel grow by hitting the subscribe button if you are yet to. Like and share this video just so more people can hear and learn from this story. Until next time, please stay safe.